Welcome to Poplab. This week's topic is the reason some conversations are just terrible. Now, I remember the first time that I traveled out of the country and I went to plug my phone in and I discovered that my charger wouldn't work. I had to grab an adapter from the front desk, and after the trip, someone told me, hey, you should just get a universal adapter. That'll work everywhere. And I thought, that's really smart. I wish I thought of that. Now, that's the same take I have when it comes to communication for most of us. Why not just use a universal adapter? Meaning, we assume because we have a certain style of communication that it should work with everyone, but it doesn't. So think of it this way. So this is your communication style, and it fits great with anyone. I mean, anyone who communicates just like you. You know, you love data, they love data. You don't want the specifics, they don't want the details. You need proof, they've got proof. You want to feel something when you're communicating, and they do too. So yeah, that works great when you communicate the same way. But what happens when your style meets someone more like this? Or like this? Or like this? It would be so nice to have a universal adapter when it comes to communication. 2 quick thoughts to avoid terrible conversations. Number 1, you've got to know your audience. There are 4 major categories of bad conversation types, and you've got to be able to recognize them when you jump in a conversation. The first one is a puppy. They just follow you around, meaning they don't have an opinion, they don't say anything. You say, hey, did you see that story on Instagram? And they say, I know, did you see that story on Instagram? Puppy. A vampire. They suck the life out of the conversation. Their energy just isn't carrying based on the comments they're making. Conversations should feel alive, and these people just drain energy out of the conversation. Fortune teller. You can tell everything that they're going to say before they even say it. Remember, conversations are supposed to be alive? Mix it up sometimes. When you ask, hey, where are you going? You know that they're always going to say, I'm going to the restroom. A little variety can be nice sometimes. And the 4th type of communicator is a narcissist. Somehow this person finds a way to make everything about them. Even a question like, how was your weekend? Is really just a setup for them to tell you about theirs. Now, the second thought is, know what you're saying. So the words we use are rarely neutral. They usually trigger some kind of emotional reaction, which means they carry a message, and that message is broken down into its simplest form by our brain. Is this pain or is this pleasure? Is this a friend or is this a foe? It's how our brains work. And don't forget, the listener is usually the one who gets to determine the meaning, much more so than the speaker. So we've got to stop thinking about how to respond with predetermined responses and start listening and practicing actually having conversations. I want to summarize what I just said. 1, let's be better listeners. Let's not come in with predetermined responses to everything. Let's listen and engage in the conversation. And 2, let's recognize how people are hearing what we're saying. Those 2 small adjustments are about as close as we're ever going to get to having a universal adapter for communication. Put it into practice this week, and I promise you will begin to see an improvement in how much you actually enjoy your conversations. If this was helpful, please share it, help get the word out. We'll see you next time on Poplab.